Appeals Court blocks Trump's mail-in ballot order. Midterm election impact. A federal appeals court has just delivered a major blow to the Trump administration's efforts to tighten mail-in voting rules in several Democratic-led states. The court refused to allow the administration to enforce key parts of President Donald Trump's executive order, a significant setback that could potentially push this issue all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, especially with the midterm elections looming. In a 2-1 decision, the First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals denied the Department of Justice's request. They had asked to pause a June ruling that blocked several provisions of Trump's executive order while the administration appealed the case. The Justice Department had already indicated they might seek emergency relief from the Supreme Court if this appeal failed. The administration argued that their lawsuit was premature, stating that federal agencies hadn't yet finalized the policies needed to implement the executive order. However, the appeals court disagreed, finding that the plaintiff states were already facing tight election deadlines and had begun preparing for potential changes. The court stated that the executive order laid out clear, rapidly approaching deadlines, leaving states with no practical choice but to respond immediately. President Trump signed Executive Order 14,399 as part of his broader election integrity agenda. This order directed the Department of Homeland Security to compile lists of eligible U.S. citizen voters for states, instructed the U.S. Postal Service to create new standards for mail-in ballots, and urged the Justice Department to prioritize investigations into officials who issue federal ballots to ineligible voters. This legal challenge was initiated by 23 states, along with the District of Columbia, led by California, Massachusetts, Nevada, and Washington. These states contend that the U.S. Constitution gives them the primary responsibility for administering federal elections, and that the president exceeded his authority by directing federal agencies to impose new voting requirements. Back in June, U.S. District Judge Indira Talwarni sided with the states, ruling that several provisions of the executive order likely went beyond the president's authority. She then blocked federal agencies from implementing these provisions in the plaintiff states through the federal elections. This latest appeals court ruling doesn't resolve the underlying legal challenge permanently, but it does keep Judge Talwarni's injunction in place while the appeal process continues. This means the stricter mail-in voting rules remain blocked for now, with the path potentially leading to the nation's highest court.